to my YouTube channel for this week's video. Today we're going to be talking about something that is fairly well known in the chronic illness community, but I feel like the general public isn't really aware of it, and it's called the spoon theory. So let's get right into what it is. A lot of times you'll hear people in the chronic illness community refer to themselves as spoonies or a spoonie warrior, and the first time I heard that I thought, where is that coming from? That makes no sense. Like, what is this meaning? And I want to educate you on it today because I have found so much value in being able to explain it to people and help people understand the reality of what it's like with chronic illness through this theory that was actually developed out by someone who was a chronic illness warrior herself. Christine suffered from lupus. Lupus is an autoimmune disease. It is a chronic illness as well. And there are actually a lot of parallels between lupus and fibromyalgia. And so shout out to all of the lupus warriors out there. I see you. So Christine had gone out to dinner with one of her friends, and her friend had kind of asked her to just describe what a day looked like for someone with chronic illness, and she really didn't know where to start, which I think is where a lot of us are at. It's like, how do I describe something that impacts me so much in my daily life, and yet like there are no words to describe what you deal with as someone with chronic illness. And so she was kind of like trying to figure out if she wanted to go the honest route of talking about what it's actually like, or try to just like smooth it over, which I think we're good at doing, because sometimes the real and raw emotion of what chronic illness actually looks like for you can be too much for some people. And so I know personally I have a tendency to scale it back and like try to make it seem like it's not as big of a deal. And that was kind of what was going through her mind, of just like, how do I be honest but not overwhelm this person who genuinely like wants to learn and know what it's like to have chronic illness. And so she kind of looked around the table and she spotted a spoon sitting at the table, and she picked it up. So Christine said that she gathered these spoons as basically a measure of a finite unit of energy that people have. And she said energy for many of us with chronic illness is limited and depends on many factors, including stress levels, how we're sleeping, and pain. And so she began to like walk her friend through what an average day looks like in the chronic illness world. And I think it's so eye-opening once you understand the scale of the spoon theory. So the idea is that every single person starts the day with 12 spoons, which are those units of energy. And on average, those 12 spoons should last someone who is healthy throughout the entire day. Now, if you have chronic illness, every activity that you do, no matter how big or how small, is taking a just enormous amount of energy from those units that you have, and you have to savor that and figure out how to budget it throughout the day. So I want to run through like a few examples just to help you kind of visualize what it's like for someone like me who does struggle with chronic illness and faces a lot of challenges with sleep and fatigue and so many things that are ultimately impacting the level of energy that you have in a day. And of course, that hinders your ability to be able to do your daily tasks and like actually live a normal life. If you have a chronic illness, it automatically impacts the number of spoons that you start with in a day. So if you don't rest well at night, then you automatically subtract 1 spoon from the number of spoons that you start the day with. So you would have 11 spoons. If you have a cold, then you subtract 4 spoons from your day. So there's a third of your energy for the day just completely gone because you have a cold. And other reasons why you would subtract is like if you missed a meal or you forgot to take your medication at the specific time that it's supposed to be done, then you would subtract a spoon. And so it's ultimately kind of showing you how the daily activities and the way that you have to take care of yourself is so important, because it ultimately impacts the amount of energy that you have in that day, which is something that it may affect healthy people similarly, but not to that extreme. So I want to talk a little bit about the actual scale of what activities throughout your day take away certain spoons and how many spoons it takes to do like basic activities. It's kind of mind-boggling when you stop and think about it, but I think this will resonate with all of the chronic illness warriors out there, because there's honestly no way to describe the level of fatigue and exhaustion that you get from little things like taking a shower. Seems like that should be so easy and straightforward and like, oh great, I took a shower, like I'm fine. No, it takes every ounce of energy that you have sometimes to do that. So things that take a single spoon is, first of all, getting out of bed. Like, let's pause and give a moment to all of the chronic illness people that got out of bed today, because honestly, that's a win. It's a win, and I celebrate that with you. That takes one spoon. Getting dressed takes another spoon. Taking your medication and making sure you stay on top of that throughout the day, that takes another spoon. Literally, you can be sitting watching TV and it takes a spoon, because you are like, you're engaged in something and it's taking energy to be able to engage and actively be present in that moment when your body is fighting so much in and of itself. Things that take 2 spoons would be taking a shower. That's crazy. You start the day with 12 spoons, and if you want to take a shower that day, which let's hope you do, then you lose 2 spoons just on that one single thing that you do. Other things that take 2 spoons: making a phone call, studying, reading a book, things that people take for granted, I think. And if you stop and think about trying to work a full-time job or just work a job in general and have chronic illness, how many times are you on the phone during a day? And every single time that you're on the phone is taking 2 spoons from you. You can't do it all. That's what I'm getting at. Things that take 3 spoons: cooking and eating a meal. I can't tell you how many times that I've gone to the trouble to cook a meal for myself, which is rare at this point. Not because I can't cook, but because it takes so much energy. But I will cook a meal and then I'm so exhausted from actually making the meal that I don't even feel like eating. So 3 spoons gone right there. And you have 3 meals in a day. So if you want to eat, then you're just done for the day. Okay. Any housework, chores, styling your hair. Let's talk about styling your hair. That takes 3 spoons to style your hair and wash your hair. And that's so true. That's so spot on. Absolutely spot on for me. Driving somewhere, and this is like, for me, I think more long distance, but even just getting out and having to go somewhere sometimes can take a couple spoons just to be able to work up the energy to do that. Takes so much out of you. And then the biggest ones, the ones that take 4 spoons, going to a doctor's appointment always exhausts me. Like, part of it is when you have chronic illness, you also encounter a lot of medical trauma. So you kind of have to like psych yourself up to go to a doctor's appointment. And if you have more than one doctor's appointment in a day, just don't do it. Don't do it. It's too much. Exercising, going to work, going shopping, all those things take so many spoons from you. And so the only reason why I'm sharing this is because I want people to understand, like, things that you take for granted as a healthy person take so much more effort from someone who's chronically ill. And as someone who struggles with that, I can never find the words to adequately communicate to somebody, like, I don't have the spoons to be able to get out of bed and go somewhere today. Like, I don't have the capacity to do that. And I think it's so hard for people to understand, because as a healthy person, society tells you, like, you have an endless amount of energy, just go do it. Go out there, go get it, you know? And even healthy people don't have an endless amount of energy. And I think one of the ironic things is, like, if you overdo it in any given day, so say, you know, maybe I have a good day and I start the day with 12 spoons and I overdo it and I use 15, then the following day I'm automatically subtracting what I used in excess the previous day. And so here I am starting the following day short on spoons and out of energy and exhausted and not capable of, like, taking on the day like I would want to, because I had to do so much the previous day on a day when I felt well. I hope this helps educate you on what it's like to actually live chronically ill. Again, this is a community for people who both struggle with chronic illness and know people that do, because I ultimately want you to understand that, one, if you have chronic illness and you struggle with a lack of energy, you're not alone. You are not alone. Like, so many of us are trying to figure out how to do our daily tasks and go about life and still have any type of social interactions or, regular life activities that other people get to enjoy. And secondly, like, if you don't have that, I want you to be able to understand people that do. I think every single one of us probably know someone who struggles with some sort of fatigue because of an illness, and they're not always going to speak up to you and tell you, hey, I'm exhausted, I'm tired, I don't feel like doing this. And I think we need to normalize volunteering that for them. Like, hey, this is an option. If you don't feel like doing this, that's perfectly fine. And so something that I've kind of adopted in my daily life is trying to educate people on the spoon theory and just telling them, like, hey, I've got 2 spoons left in the day. And if they understand and are educated on that, then they're gonna know that you're gonna need those 2 spoons to drive home and get ready for bed. And so people automatically are going to expect, you to only perform at the level that they know that you're capable of, if they're aware of the limitations that you have and they're educated on it. And so I hope this is a good visual for you. I know it's helped me kind of bring other people along with me and bring them up to speed on what I'm going through. So if you like this video, be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, all the fun things, and I will see you next week for another video.